What 3 books would you say have influenced you most? I'm always curious
We
asking
talked.
people this
Yeah,
question because you get such a
we
range of stuff.
we talked about it before, so it was a little hard to discover to think about this, but I thought about it a little bit. So I'm gonna say first off was the FNAF Finance of Freddy's novel trilogy, because I remember that was like when I saw that, because my mom used to take us to Barnes and Noble. I would remember she would take us to Barnes and Nobles to read, and I'll just go searching. So I remember Finance of Freddy's book trilogy. And, like, I was interested because back then, like, it was like Gravity Falls, like, the mystery. It was darker, but it was the mystery that like, the
Yeah.
secrets, which definitely, like, I liked, like, the secrets and just picking apart details. I think that's what I love most. It's just when I find details and stuff, it's just you know what I mean? I try to do that in my own writing, the symbolism and the details and all that stuff. Just, you know, I find myself just loving to do that. I could get really in depth with that. But back to that, the Five Nights at Freddy's novel trilogy. I remember when I saw it. And when I saw it, it was cool because I didn't think it would get to that point. It was different. So I read that, and it was different. So that influenced me on that front. Just on the fact that you know you could the books I feel are like it's like what's a perfect middle ground. It's like you know what I mean. It's just like anything could become a book. Anything could become a book. So it's just like what I mean. It made me appreciate that more. Now another second would be the Hardy Boys book, because I remember reading that. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Because later during the pandemic, I'd have to read. My mother would make me just read books. Just to keep me sharp, I guess. And I was reading the Hardy Boys book, and I was just like, I don't know, I just found them really interesting. I just thought, the way they focused on their central characters. I think that's what, because I always try to do that, like just focusing on the characters that you promote and we're here for. That's what I try to do most, like just focusing on that and getting the most out of your character interactions. That's really a part of my style. It's just to really get in with your main character, you know what I mean? Just really make them like just to earn their spot in like pop culture and all that. And I think, I appreciate what Hardy Boys did there with the focus of the brothers. And finally, Charlotte's Web, because I believe that was like the first book that really I was just thinking back on it, like going all the way back. I was like, oh yeah, I know it. Charlotte's Web really stuck. Cause it's just like it was like just kind of the first one of the first books I can really remember from like such a young time, but also just was stuck with you where it's like, because like most books you read are shorter pictures, and they're happy. And like the ending, like when I heard saw it was a non-happy ending, it kind of changes your perspective a little bit. It's like it's like a book can end bad, and it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like it kind of opens your eyes a little bit as a kid, and that's why it like sticks in my head, because it was a story of friendship and just all these things. Like it did all the stuff, the talking animals and all that. But then when it ended sadly, it was like, wow, it was kind of like it's like, when you think back on it, you're like, oh man, it's it influences you in a way to where it's like you don't even realize it, just like not even just for writing, but just in life, where it's like, oh, you know, so losses, bad endings exist. So that's like why I put that there on books that were just influential on me.